Okay, thank you so much for that setup, Somi. Dr. Praveer Sinha, CEO and MD Tata Power with us. Dr. Sinha, a pleasure as always to speak with you here on NDTV Profit. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to jump right to it because I know you've done a whole set of interviews this morning. So let me come to, I think, what investors would want to know right now in this live telecast. That the numbers look good because of a couple of one-offs, including regulatory measures. For example, duties on imports from China on certain components, etc. Do you see these numbers that you presented this quarter as sustainable?
Good morning, Tamanna. Always a pleasure to be on your show. I think our performance this quarter is very good, considering that our majority of our profit has come from our core business. It's not because of duties or taxes or anything, but because all our businesses have done exceedingly well in this quarter. And that is why not only our PAT has gone up, but our EBITDA has gone up. So I think what we need to look at it is that our core businesses have started kicking in, and the impact of that is coming in our EBITDA as well as in PAT. Earlier, many of our non-core businesses used to give a benefit. I would say that the four big things that has happened is that our manufacturing in the solar module and cell plant has now stabilized. It's doing exceedingly well. Last quarter, we had a revenue in manufacturing of nearly 1,300 crores and EBITDA of 226 and a PAT of. Now, if you see many of the players who are just in standalone manufacturing, it's much better than any one of them. In fact, the speed at which we have set up the plant, it's not only an Indian standard, but it's a global standard. And the type of technology that we have used, the type of robotics, the type of automation, many of the analysts have gone and seen that, and they all tell me that this is possibly the best in our country and also meets the global standards.
Dr. Sinha, I will interrupt over here. We are running slightly short on time, but my quick question to you is, if you have to look at FY30, you're targeting a 2.5 times your FY24 PAT. Do you think that the growth that you're looking at is going to be completely back-ended with renewable energy because fully contributing only by FY28?
It's not only renewable. Renewable will play a very, very important role because nearly 60% of our Capex goes there. But we will also be growing in our transmission business, in our distribution business, and in our pumped hydro and hydro business. The work in the pumped hydro has started. The work in the hydro plant in Bhutan has started last month itself. So I think we are very much on track, and I don't think there are many players in the sector who have been able to start the work at the speed at which we are going. The work on the second pumped hydro of 1800 megawatt will also start in this year. We are going through the process of various clearances. The work on the second hydro in Bhutan will also start in this year. So I think in terms of speed, we are possibly one of the fastest in this sector. And notwithstanding the fact that there are huge challenges sometimes in getting land and the evacuation and all that, which is not in our control. So I think we have a very strong pipeline, and what we have demonstrated in 21 quarters of consistent performance, you will continue to see that in future also, and much better and much higher increase in PAT and EBITDA numbers. So I think we have surprised everyone consistently, and we will continue to surprise in future too.
A very strong positive commentary coming in. May I just ask Dr. Sinha, the margins that you've clocked this time, 21.78%, is that sustainable, taking into account what we've seen with Mundra this time round? I mean, wondering how to look at this, because parts of the street looking at this as a one-off, as a windfall. Do you see these benefits extending into Q4?
Absolutely, because as I mentioned to you, we have now done huge amount of Capex, and it is the impact of the capital expenditure that today all our businesses have started doing much bigger and much better. Mundra was a problem, but under Section 11, today it is cost neutral and continues to operate in Section 11 because of the huge demand of power in the country. And the Mundra issue has become much smaller today than what it was 5 years back. So I think we need to move on and say that how our existing businesses is becoming much larger in terms of their contribution for the profit and EBITDA and margins. And that this will only improve because we are doing very good quality investments, and they will give much higher returns going forward.
Right. Dr. Sinha, what's the update with regards to nuclear energy? You are looking at a foray into this segment. How far are you with regards to this space? What's the kind of capex that it will require, and what's the funding plan?
I think it's too early to talk about capex and the funding plan because we have only heard from the finance minister that there will be an amendment to the Nuclear Act, and also we need to understand what are the policy support that will be provided by the government. So we need to wait and watch and see that how this will pan out. But what we can tell you is that we are very positive about it. We've done a lot of work in last 2 years, and going forward, we will play a very important role once the sector opens up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sinha, for speaking with us. We actually have so much to speak with you, including, budget allocations, impact, outlook for rooftop solar. But I think we'll have to schedule a slightly longer and more detailed conversation with that, and we look forward to the possibility of that. But
absolutely, pleasure, Tamanna, and look forward to catching up again.
Absolutely. Dr. Praveer Sinha there on Tata Power. The streets looked at the numbers positively. Brokerages have some questions in mind. We've managed to ask some of them, but of course a detailed chat in the offing. With that, it's a wrap on India Markets Open, but Ask Profit up next. Stay tuned.